Welcome back, friends, to Occultists Anonymous, sponsored by Roll20, The Onyx Path, viewers like you, and well-timed yawn from Chris. Glad you're not bored here, buddy. Thanks.
Just very tired.
Chris has had a busy day. If you want to know more about it, come by Discord. My brain fell out. Oh, right.
Patrons?
People like you. Yeah. Thank you very much to all our sponsors and, well, sponsors. Our patrons who support us monetarily. Does make you sponsors. Hang out. Thank you very much for your support. It does mean a lot to us, and it lets us do cool stuff. Also, that includes anybody who's out there buying merch or subbing on Twitch or any of those other different ways that you support us. Thank you very much. Thank you to Adele, Al, Alexander, Angfalith, Barbaric Barista.
Oh, I thought they were going to go with Yop. That would have been cool.
Oh, yeah. Bernie, Blood Angel, Brandon, Buck Farmer, Chris is hedging some bets, Daniel, Doc the Undead, Doggo De Loon, Emil, Funzu Sura Ali, George, Jack, Jenny, John, Josh, Julian, Camo's not available, Cat Feathers, Crazy Man 1772, Michael, Milo V3, Ms. Grumpy, Moku, Mozart D Minor, Noba, Obri Mostly Harmless, which is still probably my favorite so far. Other Michael, Perry, Puppeteer, Riafio, Ryan, Shaksara, Cinna, Taryn, Thomas, Toast, Usuf Sama, Vortex, and Zoltan. Thank you all very much for your support. Glad to have you guys with us. Guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I have lost all my notes. That's a lie. Also,
I don't know what bets I'm hedging, but I am going to play a changeling in like a couple months.
Oh, yeah.
So I might bet some hedges.
Oh, you might wager them?
If you're new here, no, it doesn't really get better.
No.
It doesn't. Absolutely not.
Good stuff. Start a hedge fund. Get out! Chat. Going to ban you all one by one.
You won't get rid of Perry that easily.
No.
Nope.
No. Perry's been around long enough that he's earned bad jokes. You don't actually have to be around to give us bad jokes. Come by Twitch chat at any point or Discord and share your bad jokes with us. Cool. So when we last left,
Old Griffin.
oh, what if someone trimmed the edge? You people.
Please continue
When we last
entertaining
left-
us.
Yes. No, I mean
It's a mutual exchange.
Why is it that I do this and I lose the left cursor? That's crazy. Okay, whatever. We're here. We're back. When we last left the Witch Coven, they had prepared because they knew somebody was coming at sundown for Rilla Remington, the most newly awakened Obrimos, within the tri-state area. There's, somebody might have happened the same. Not that works. Anyways, prepared and said, okay, best way to do this, we're gonna hole up in the tavern. And Isabel, Petrichor, not Songbird, calls in a thunderstorm. Big, scary, lots of boom, lots of rain, because if correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the term was, if they want her, they can come get her soaking wet, or something similar, or just making it a bad day. What was it? I feel like there was a good line. I could just be blending stuff in my head.
That's
I think
possible.
you give us more credit.
I've been known to say some clever things before. Completely by accident, of course.
Maybe I invented it in my head. Okay. Either way, we'll give Chris the point for it anyways. And lo and behold, right about sundown, the last ship of the day, well, the ship probably, has come down the Purgatorio, the Purgatoire, or the Purgatory River, depending on what language you were speaking. And in come, well, first one of the dock workers shouting about, hey, anybody want to make 50 cents? About $15. And help unload some boxes and other deliveries into the warehouse because it is pouring rain. They want to get it unloaded and the ship wants to get moving down river. Okay, sure. A couple miners get up and start heading out because, hey, quick 50 cents for lugging some stuff off a ship and into a warehouse. All right. But in come a motley crew of people. And especially actually because Ralph also mentioned there's a couple that stood out and then a couple others. I was like, well, that's just because I was lazy and I didn't describe all of them in the moment. Call me out. But yes, in walk a number of different folks. And all of your guys' peripheral mage sight goes off. In probably a unique fashion, in a kind of cascading layer of effects passing over you. Rilla has this just continual shiver of just oh, okay, that can stop any time now, please. While the rest of you just pulling Gisela's off the top of my head, just lots of little gremlins at the corner of your sight and such, and where it's piling on and piling on. As those effects
Is it so for Isabel, whose peripheral mage sight is, or ping is, cascades of notes of music?
Discordant,
discordant, or is it symphonic?
Clink.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. This song is playing while so you got the 70s slow jams, you've got some hair metal, and you've got some, it's just all layered together. It's oh, this is unfortunate. And we'll get around to Gisela here in a moment because of lots of different stuff. But we'll start off with the descriptions of the folks who are coming in. So you have a gentleman, mid-40s, short black hair, starting to turn a little salt and pepper, and he's wearing the black cassock, a little priest collar, though I'm not 100% about the collar because I don't know if that's in use yet, but definitely dressed as a Catholic priest. Another mid-40s man, suntan. He's got a legitimate cowboy hat, and we're not talking about a yeehaw modern hat, but a wider brim one, and he's pulling it off as he comes inside, shaking it off and bald beneath it, but he is a big barrel of a man. Couple other gentlemen, one who's early 30s, very lean, whipcord taut kind of muscle, blonde hair pulled back into a ponytail. Two gentlemen who come in one right after another and are clearly twins, in their late 20s, and have longer, just kind of loose blonde hair, kind of average builds. Another gentleman who is also in mid-40s, black hair, really round face, definitely looks like he eats well. And that was the little group I mentioned of who look like laborers, kind of some rougher attire and stuff like that, and are moving in a bit of a cluster together when they arrive. And then as John Paul was I'm not sure. Yeah, they're a married couple, a man and woman who come in, both in their 50s, but probably a bit of an age difference there. We'll say early and late 50s. And I mentioned, they look like they have grown to look similar to each other. And he was holding a large umbrella and is shaking it off after he is a little bit drenched. She is pristinely dry. And they're all kind of coming in and sitting in.
Although probably a little muddy.
Yes. But yeah, the water itself has not touched her. And she definitely has a nice dress, but it's a little bit shorter and good boots. They're all dressed for travel in one way or another. Yes, so coming back to Gisela. One day I'll get the two different. You get hit by this cavalcade of stuff, and just because they're all hitting you all at the same time, mind, prime, some more prime, a little bit more mind, some matter, and forces. Yeah, how to go through everything. Boom, 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 boom. Hit you as part of this barrage of stuff. And then as they're kind of moving in and starting to spread out, Ralph said Jean-Paul was going to get up and greet them, or where were we going?
Engage them. He was going to approach them before they got too far into the room. Especially with the things of peripheral mage sight. Yes, exactly. So if that's okay with everybody, yeah. Cloak would stand up and walk to them and stop within distance to grapple. That if he rushed forward, he could touch them.
Okay, one thing I will clarify, because these are all coming in. They don't look like they know each other. Like, this is not like
these are all just different people?
Block. Right.
Yeah, but we don't
recognize
recognize
them. The laborers were together.
Right, the laborers were definitely together. But this is, and very similar, this is an ordinary thing of having people who are all on the ship and they're headed to Purgatory Bluff. The laborers especially are very, kind of standard, because at the mine, I actually noted this because I realized, this probably seems very weird because we haven't talked about it, but the mine has people who come and they work for months or a year and get enough money in their pocket and go cross the river to farm or head back to New York, or, just decide mining isn't for me and bail, and new folks are coming in. So it is that replenishment of town life.
And that's fine, but a bunch of people walking in, all pinging our peripheral mage side like crazy, and they don't know each other? Seems a little far-fetched.
Absolutely, to be like, hang on, what's going on here? But I'm just clarifying, the arrival of this many people is not too unusual. And Purgatory Bluff is a stop-off point for, the ship, and stuff like that. Okay,
that's helpful. Mm-hmm. So, let's see. The priest came in first, right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, Cloak would stand up and approach the priest. And in English, he would say to him, "Oh, no, actually, fuck it. It's time for some big stunt and energy here." In high speech, he would go up to him. And just making an assumption here, because the pings went off. He was going to do English, but then once everyone's casting spells and shit, he's like, all right, fine.
Well, they're not necessarily casting spells. You may be feeling active
supernatural
spells.
Effects.
Okay, all right, they got effects on. Cool, sounds good. All right. So there is magic afoot, and if they're going to, put their shit on the table, Cloak is effectively going to do the same thing, just through words.
Sure.
So he walks up to him, and he says to the priest in high speech, "Should I bid you welcome, or should I ask you to leave?"
Kind of looks at you, kind of head tilts to the side, and puts his hand on your shoulder, just gently. Let me know if you recoil or anything. And looks and says, "Does anybody stand to speak for this man who speaks? Does anybody here speak his tongues?" Like, looks about and everybody is turning and looking, and like everybody's very confused. And,
does that include? Can I make a wits composure test to see if I recognize glances from any of the other people who came in?
Sure.
Cool.
And yes, chat, I did drop it 50 cents because Noctall pointed out, well, that's $30. I was like, okay, hang on, maybe not $1. I gave him $1. Cool.
Yep.
So, yeah, a quick, pass around, and, like you mentioned, everybody else is kind of filing in, and, a lot of people are looking over and trying to figure out what's going on. There's a couple of, the local miners who are kind of, scoffing, who's this guy, picking on Jean Paul? And some people are looking at Jean Paul going, oh, what's the voodoo guy doing? This is real weird even for him.
Sounds
if
good
anybody listening to what the priest is saying would like to roll int plus academics or occult, or something else to know anything about religion.
He's talking about speaking in tongues. Yeah. Of course, I'll roll int plus occult.
Okay. There's not really history either. Theo.
While we're rolling, can I get a sense of the nimbus on these different spell effects? So passively as they're walking in?
No, because to see a signature nimbus, one must study the effect to actually reach down and find that. Because remember, the signature nimbus is basically the scar beneath the effect. So, successes. All right, cool. Yeah, all of you are at least knowledgeable enough to know that that is one of the things, and perhaps you have heard it between the different churches, but when a believer steps forward and speaks in tongues, somebody else is blessed to be able to understand and explain what is being said. And this priest is looking around. He doesn't understand, but he's expecting, well, if this man is speaking in tongues, somebody else can understand him. And anybody?
Isabel will step forward.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And yeah, you looks at you, you know, and recognizing a waitress, right, at work, right. And go ahead. Sorry.
Pardon there, Father, but I believe he's asking if we can get you a spot to sit down and have a drink.
He looks at you both and then kind of looks up like, help me, Father, and nods and says, I'll take your word for it. Yes, I wouldn't mind whiskey. And, you know, kind of pats Jean-Paul.
What's his like accent? Like where does he sound like he's
from?
Oh,
yeah, he's I'm pulling my notes, but I believe he is Irish as fuck.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say, actually, I don't know how well Isabel would necessarily recognize, but it is definitely like a accent he is losing. It's been a while since he's been back in Ireland.
And like, I don't know that necessarily she knows what an Irishman sounds like, but it's a thing to ask.
Sure, absolutely.
I can ask out of character, right? Yep. Specifically, I was trying to get to, is this guy a Spanish Catholic guy? Right. But the answer is no. So, and then I'll just kind of like pat Cloak on the shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah, the gentleman walks with you, and you know, does a one more look over his shoulder at Jean-Paul, and gives like a quizzical, like, gonna have to talk to that guy later kind of thing, because he's curious, because like you don't, you know, at least within his, you know, worldview, that doesn't happen by itself. And it's not pretty sure Isabel isn't translating. So
yeah, that's not what God said,
right? And you know, basically follows with you, and you set him at the bar, I would imagine.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, thank you.
Well, if everyone else is coming in, yeah, at the bar is probably good, because one of the tables is going to be for the laborers and stuff.
Gotcha. Actually, as you are guiding, because Arcelia is also working, right? Right. So it's not just you, but yeah, you set him down and you know, get him a whiskey, or you know, and he introduces himself as Father Gibson, kind of asking after your name.
Senor Pilar.
Senor Pilar. Thank you. I appreciate your hospitality. Kind of looking around and kind of notices that it's you and Arcelia, and there's some people in the back, but out front it's just the two of you, and comparing obvious experience and how well you're carrying. Do you run this establishment?
I think I could humbly refer to myself as the second in command.
Oh, pleased to meet your acquaintance. And while you guys probably are he's gonna, you know, small talk you. He's, you know,
for sure.
The Arcelia is there and sees like the squad of 5 laborers and looks for like a table, and she's like, oh, there's one last open table, and then the married couple walk in, and you watch her brain, and the gentleman just kind of pat the guy's pat on the shoulder. It's, oh, no, we'll sit, we see our people. And I think Arcila just goes, okay, sure. And they kind of move in amongst the miners and start sitting down. And there's definitely like one table with that first gentleman, or excuse me, not the first gentleman, the last gentleman, the larger gent who sits down, kind of makes people scoot over, and there's a bit of grumbling, and they say, drinks, and immediately has new friends. And Arcila is like, oh crap, and you'll probably have to be the one to go get drinks. And the married couple make their way to the one last open table. Jean-Paul, I know I paused you there, but feel free to jump in here as with everybody else as you see the momentum.
There was something I wanted to do, but I didn't want to interrupt everybody else.
Sure.
He touched me and he responded that way, which made Jean-Paul think that either he's lying, right, or he is a sleeper. Not in Jean-Paul's language, but he is not a wizard. And so Jean-Paul, of course, is going to try and understand what chains him to different aspirations and motivations. So when he touches him, no nature is going to get cast.
Okay.
Cool. Let me do that. Spell template. Chains of Ambition.
And while you're putting that together, Theo, who are you casting soul marks on?
I want to, and this might be beyond the scope of the spell that I'm trying to do, but I don't necessarily want to get soul marks on everybody. I want to know who is awakened in the room. That's why I paid for the advanced scale to cover the whole place.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a good idea.
Mage Sight just do that?
What's that?
Or no?
Mage Sight just sees if you have a soul or not. Soul marks or the prime one.
Will tell you if it's an awakened soul. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm altering the way soul marks is written to just highlight for me who is an awakened soul in the room, and I'm not doing all the rest of it.
No, I mean that's fine, because you could just decide that's the one thing you want to know.
So I paid for scale. The reach is instant cast advanced scale, and I paid for the scale to cover the size of the room.
Cool. Now, do you remember it is withstood by resolve.
So that's why I paid the extra 2 potency, and it's a potency spell, so I should have potency 5.
Oh, right, you do. Cool. So that will handle basically everybody save for the most resolute of people. Cool.
And my big dice pool of 2.
Cool. Go ahead and roll your 2. Cool. There's
I'll take
one
it,
success. All right. Roll Gnosis plus Death.
I feel like probably more than one.
Your spell goes off and you bump against something. You're not sure what.
One something or a bunch of somethings?
All you know is that the spell clashed.
Right, but if it clashed against different things, I would get different pings back, right?
Actually, I guess that's true. Yeah, if somebody came up as, process of elimination.
Who didn't,
Interestingly, everybody who just walked through the door, you can't see their soul marks. Every single one of them.
Wow.
Including the crew.
One spell.
Including the crew.
So it's all one spell. Okay.
That's a clever.
I was
that's a clever disguise.
Somebody's
Clever disguise.
hiding in a crowd.
Hide the sleepers too.
Yep.
Yep. And throw spells up on everybody so we don't know who's who and what's what.
Which, by the way, all the locals, they're all sleepers, except for you guys. just to confirm.
You get this great success on this powerful spell, and you get to find out that Isabel, Gisela, and Jean-Paul are all wizards.
And we're all witches. And Rilla.
And Rilla, yeah, sorry.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
And did you throw up the template there, Ralph?
Nope. I'm going to do it right now.
All right.
I just want to turn on Mage Sight.
Absolutely.
Like when these people walk in the door and start pinging my peripheral.
Okay, we'll come back around to that. All right, and this is on. Oh, yes. Okay, cool.
Yep, there was no paradox.
And the reach was for instant,
aspirations and obsessions, and scale.
Oh,
That
scale.
inspired me. Yeah, upon the priest doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why not just try and listen in or perceive the chains linking all of these ostensibly non-magic individuals?
Yeah, so small. Yeah, everything in the area. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So while they're in the area, you would. Yeah, okay, I dig that. Cool. Roll Gnosis plus Mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why I didn't take advanced duration and then pump up and then change primary factor and pump up the duration is that I don't think it makes sense for John Paul to know that increasing the steps would give him a bonus to Clash of Wills.
Right. And at this point, wouldn't even know that really that's a thing because these are your first clashes.
Yeah, so cool. Gnosis in mind. Yeah, goddamn. That is a lot of successes.
6 successes on the counter clash. But we have seen stuff happen before.
Yeah, we'll see about this.
Because you're rolling
Roll willpower.
Plus 12 whole dice.
Yep. All right. Oh, too
with the willpower,
bad.
okay. I was like, wow, you got 4 on 5. But no, 4 on
That's
8,
a willy.
but still. Yeah. And so...
We're talking about pulling out the willies, so...
Yeah, same kind of thing. Where
We
you
did.
go,
People came. I said in the beginning.
so you both have this kind of drawback sensation. Theo and Gisela and Isabel and Rilla have their peripheral mage sights go off again, which coming back to Ash and your mage sight, which ones are you turning on just for clarity's sake?
I don't have mana, so I can't turn on Prime.
Oh, how good!
So,
That
yeah,
makes
because
it
I
even
blew it
better.
all.
I didn't even check on that.
Yeah, because the same day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So fate and time. What would you see? No immediate spells of fate and time active, though that technically is more of a prime thing. But we've played a little loose with that. Time, nobody is out of time. And where's fate at? There it is.
Oh, you mean shifted it?
Right.
I was like, what?
Out of time. They're about to die.
How do you run out of time? Oh shit.
Yeah, they retire in 3 days. Yeah. Of note, while you were sitting there, nobody seems to have any kind of shenanigans going on until you look at Rilla and notice that Rilla has a destiny with a capital D.
Oh shit!
Okay.
We need to figure out what the hell that is.
I just see
I have a
curly
spell that
letters,
does
destiny.
explicitly that. Basically, upon seeing that, I'm going to...
Hang on. New people somebody else can handle. I need to figure what the fuck this is.
Yeah, I'm going to find the spell. Which one is it?
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a Fate 1 spell for...
Reading the Outmost Eddies, I think?
Yep. That's not...
Check in with the veteran Acanthus real quick here. And awesome. Pierce Deception getting thrown in.
Yeah.
What yantras are you using there? I should have mentioned that earlier for the
I'm
others.
using a shadow name.
Mm-hmm.
And the tavern itself is a place that is a protector. Officer is a protector. So it's as a place she's trying to protect from intrusion.
Interesting. I'm okay with that being the one dot yantra. Which reminds me, it doesn't apply to Jean-Paul Cloak Legba anymore, but Investiture is a very, very good yantra for you all to think about as you move forward, because that's literally the protect the town yantra. If you have the status or are part of the mystery cult, but now that Jean-Paul has gone from mystery cult initiation to mystery cult influence, no longer applies.
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
The spell is a Fate 1. I need the +2 reach to get details about this destiny.
Mm-hmm.
I also need to reach again because I'm overdoing spell control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm overreaching by 1. Because the only thing I really need is instant and that bonus reach to get the details.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sitting beside her.
Yep, that's correct. Oh boy. Okay, so yeah, Jean-Paul, your spell fails, or fails to see anything. The spell does go off. Nobody counterspells it. And then we'll jump over to Theo momentarily, but I want to get Jean-Paul's reaction.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to him. He's failed casting spells before, so he's going to cast it again.
Okay.
It doesn't cost him Paradox, and it's his Praxis, so...
Right.
So...
You can do the same 10 dice.
He doesn't know what a clash is, so it doesn't make sense to him that this would happen.
And Craig, Theo is casting Pierce Deception. That's just on herself.
Yeah, and then she'll be observing the room.
Right.
So there's no stand or anything.
Correct. Just bear in mind that does cost a mana because it is prime. Right. Cool.
The imago I have in my head is that somebody here is here under, like, they've muddied the waters to obscure who they are. They're trying to hide from our perception. I'm hoping Pierce Deception will let me see through that. Or give me a clue at least, or a hint.
Right.
Yeah, it's an active deception. Somebody's actively trying to deceive us.
Right, but...
Is where Theo's mind is going.
Oh, yeah. More specifically...
That's a good imago, but it's not really what the spell does.
Well, and what I'm just trying to remind... And this is very good, because this is, if nothing else, Theo experimenting with what Prime does. But yeah, like, it won't help you see through supernatural deceptions, but if somebody says a lie... Which is very, very useful.
And I'm thinking if somebody has that... the mental, I'm trying to obscure who I am, then maybe it'll be highlighted. I'll give it a shot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I like that.
One success.
Cool. And yes, Ralph, that was an exceptional. So it's an arcane beat, willpower.
We were just throwing spells like crazy when they arrived.
Oh yeah,
you were definitely.
Yeah, they're getting all kinds of pings.
Yeah, they must be like, oh god. Well, you've revealed thyself. Okay, I'll cast time for another clash, I assume.
I mean, you walked up and immediately started speaking high speech, so like...
Yeah, I'm just like, you want to come in and cast spells? Because that's how Jean-Paul interpreted it, right? Like, the peripheral mage side is magic shit's happening, not you have a magic item. Because he's never seen anything other than the perfected flute, right? But he hasn't perceived that with his mage side fully, because he doesn't have the capacity to appreciate that with
the
mage
flute
side.
itself isn't even...
Oh yes! Fuck yes!
The question is,
yeah. What's the question?
You've got to roll too.
I know, and I'm spinning another willy. Jean-Paul has tons of will. Yeah.
Cool.
Lucky. It's a good thing that spell didn't cast Paradox. Or cause Paradox. Oh man, the last 3 dice didn't even matter. Oh, it did. Got one extra. Okay.
So, in the context of this scene of a lot to do in the restaurant, not just all of the new folks causing magical pings, but also all of my coven mates fucking my shit up. I would like to make a roll with my regular human skills.
Absolutely.
To probably socialize.
Cool.
Of like continue to do my job well, but get little bits and pieces of who these folks
absolutely. Go ahead and socialize, I think, is absolutely the right one. And I can't remember, do you have professional training? Or is that just...
I do not.
Cool. So for your first turn here, Jean-Paul, who are you observing? Oh, actually, because it was, we'll say that moment has passed. That initial,
but that's not how the spell functions. You just know it instantaneously. It's not like, what's it called? The prime spell.
I mean,
supernal
this
vision.
is a very short spell, and because it does say by observing her subject. That's the very first line of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I've never had to ask before because you've always done it on right there with a person.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I just assume that the subject being everyone in the room, so you would know.
Well, here's the way I would roll with that is I'm going to tell you everybody's obsessions and virtues and stuff, and you'll have to figure out who they go to, or you will be observing. Because this is one of those things.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
And this is one of those things I had mentioned in previous ones where it's like this can be information overload, similar to back to the rookery, life web, where it's like, cool, here's all the bacteria on the floor, like having to limit that a little bit. So
that makes sense.
You get,
and he's only done it on individuals before, so yeah, let's see how he's able to handle it, observing everyone. That makes sense to me. Fair enough.
Mostly also that way, like, we don't just go, oh yeah, here you go, and here's all the stuff. So
because you mean you want to do it over time, or
right? Because it's going to be okay. Who you're looking at and kind of picking up their information. If you want to look at the imago kind of thing, all right. Look at you. What is that chain? What is that chain? What is that chain? What is that chain? Okay, cool. Got you figured out. You chain.
Fantastic.
Instead of just
cool. Sounds good. So we'll start with the priest, who in his mind is either dissembling or has revealed that he's not a mage, because he still doesn't interpret the clash as meaning that someone's protecting or safeguarding an illusion or anything like that.
I understand entirely. Cool. And I actually like this because we're going to do this kind of in this like split screen moment where Jean-Paul is staring down and looking at these chains as Isabel hands a beer to the priest who's starting to talk. And he has been sent here by the... Ooh, where'd my notes go? Come back, notes, I need you. The Superior General to speak with the priest here, fill-in name, to check in with him and potentially start up a school.
Oh, cool.
So that is the yes.
Can I spittlebug that term you just
used?
Oh,
Superior General? Would you like to roll intelligence plus academics or occult? Spitbug. And this would be
it's not in character that I know it. I didn't know if this is a term, an actual term that I don't know, that Chris does not actually know.
Sure, and we will do both. In character, I do not know that you would necessarily know this.
Okay.
I'm mostly curious if Isabel would know. I will happily continue to explain. The Superior General is a head of a religious order, generally speaking. Like a Mother Superior with nuns.
Oh, okay. Got it. Gotcha. Okay.
But
so the priest is sent by the Superior General?
By his Superior General.
Okay.
But to potentially set a school up here in Purgatory Bluff.
Okay.
Let's see here. We only picked up the basic and the one reach for aspirations and obsessions, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, cool. That appears to be his only aspiration.
Wow. Cool. How many dots in social and mental?
15.
Cool. Does he have an obsession?
He doesn't appear to have an obsession.
Okay, cool. Great. All right.
Yeah, I will note, and this is definitely okay for Ralph to realize, you only have one aspiration.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like it's very, very job focused. Absolutely okay to be like, that seems up. I will give you a like, hey, yeah, there is something up with this guy.
Cool.
All right. Bump. I don't know that it technically works this way. But just for shiggles and to make sure everybody's involved in this scene. Theo, kind of looking over and just, watching and listening and hearing stuff, and there's that little tinkle of truth on those words, because that's the other issue, is that as you're listening to Pierce vibing on Pierce Deception, there's going to be some of this other stuff where it's like the miners are telling lies to each other and you're like, get that out of the way, I don't care, that kind of stuff. Okay, coming back around to Ash. I did see it. I saw the spell. Yeah, let's go check out.
Yeah, I was going to, because it's withstood by composure. I was going to ask her if I could see.
Cool.
Like, tell her that I see something.
Absolutely.
You have a fate, and I'm like, it's very quietly say to her fate in the high speech.
Sure.
It's like, do you mind if I see it?
That sounds, I think that would be important. So yeah, please.
Okay. And for the Antras, basically, as soon as I noticed this on her, I have stopped looking at everything else going on. And I was going to use my stone and just sort of wind a hair around it from her.
Okay. That would make that a yantra of 3.
Okay.
And for your reach, you included the reach from the current spells you have?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I have Gnosis 2, I have 2 spells up, so I'm overreaching 1 for that, right?
Cool. So 1 paradox real quick. Nothing.
Alright, what's that number?
5.
My yantra is 3, so that's 6 plus 5 is 11. I clicked the wrong button. 3 successes on 11 dice, but it's good enough, I guess.
It. And specifically,
that's like average-ish.
Yeah, I did the +2 reach for I can discern specific information about a subject's destiny, such as the doom of the subject with the destiny merit or the parameters for conditional duration.
Gotcha. So in this case, the doom of a subject is... Yeah. To be sacrificed on behalf of higher powers.
Don't like that.
Nope.
Okay, and I can see...
That's real bad, okay?
That's true, and yeah. And this, by the way, is Cloak. Ralph is the other thing I was thinking of. Same kind of spell, where this reveals the marks up to 1 subject per turn. It's the other thing I'm kind of drawing on. It's a very similar unveiling, knowing spell.
Oh yeah, I forgot that this was,
No, I realized that with interconnections. Just I interpreted no nature as functioning differently.
Yeah.
So. Go
and
ahead,
you
Ash.
just cast this on her, so you're not looking around for other stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not looking at connections. Yeah, what is the destiny?
Does it actually tell you the destiny? Reveals the fates of marks, to detect, identify those who've violated in the presence.
I mean, it says it will tell me specific information about the destiny.
Oh, such as the doom of. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so... Yeah, one way or another, she will cause some... She will be the... fulcrum.
Catalyst?
Catalyst is another good one. For major change within the world. Yeah, the doom, of course, the thing that is drawing her and is tied to that is potentially being just sacrificed as the catalyst for these changes.
Damn, we're out here trying to have a cozy little homesteader sim, and Rilla's out here being recruited to be the main character of some other story.
Come on.
Basically.
A little bit.
And yeah, when I see that, I'm just kind of go wide-eyed. And I'm going to tell her that. Just... You have a destiny. You will bring about some great change. Destinies have counterparts. That one, if I have anything to say about it, won't happen. I'm telling you this so that you know. So that you know
informed,
and can do what can take steps to mitigate it, stop it from happening.
And as you've seen, you can change the future.
Yeah. You have a doom of being sacrificed.
Yeah. Which I should be very clear. I know we jumped straight to like human sacrifice death kind of thing, but it may be more metaphorical than that. But it is still definitely sacrificed. So, cool. Which potentially hastens some of my plans. Yeah. So really,
yeah, like I'm not sure how she's gonna react to that. But.
really kind of gives you actually kind of a deadpan expression of just like, this has been a very trying day. And she just kind of slumps back into the little kind of booth that you guys are kind of tucked into the corner with.
I mean, if it helps, I have one too.
She grabs your hand and says, then we will break them together. Right? And like there is a like this is not a togetherness squeeze, this is a please God help me kind of squeeze.
That is everything I have been working towards.
Cool.
So, yes.
Jumping over to our observer folks. Ralph, who is Jean-Paul looking at next? And Chris, who is helping with next? I can definitely let you kind of get a swing at like the miners, like them as groups, because
yeah. That sounds fine. The laborers.
Okay, cool.
I would like to look at everyone in sequence as they came in to make it easier on you, Drew. Unless you don't remember that, then I'll tell you.
Oh, I do.
Sounds
okay, great.
And that's also, how helping people out of the server works.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Fantastic. Yeah, let's make it simple.
All right. And Chris, I'm just asking for one socialized role as you handle the laborers real quick, just as you're, know, because it's one of those, you go over and you talk to all of them because they're all sitting next to each other and stuff like that.
And I'm applying my corrals specialty here.
Ooh, yeah.
Especially with them, absolutely.
4 successes.
Nice. Yeah. So very quickly, and we may have.
They're more fun than the priest. So they're more fun than the priest.
And we'll start off with a bunch of the information that you get real quick, because the pretty waitress is coming over and they're going to introduce themselves. The first gentleman who came in, he's Jake Barr. Nice
Jake
to meet
Barr.
you, ma'am, and very, very American sounding. He like. We're not at the point where the Wild West has an accent yet, but it started with this guy, right? It's like he sounds Texan, and Texas isn't really a thing yet.
That's fantastic.
The other gentleman, Robert Phillips, over there, he's the whipcord lean guy. William and Pierce Powell, the twins, and they both kind of give more of a British. Cockney, hellos. I ain't doing a Cockney accent, not happening. Just not doing it.
But it's so much fun.
Sure.
Hey there, Governor. Just like when we were in Blaze in the Dark.
Yep.
Yeah,
and I didn't do it then either. And then it was just one person. And then Calvin Red Downing, who is the large black-haired gentleman who, as you're seeing, drinking and smiling and laughing, and his face gets rosy red. It's like, gotcha, bud. And yeah, they're all here as they mentioned mining, but noticed all the farms and said, they'll work a farm too. They're just basically looking for work. The idea of a silver mine, silver in their pockets, that sounds like a whole lot. Calvin Red mentions that he's not so sure about going into a mine and kind of like grabs his stomach. He is Dionysian. And then and starting with Jake Barr. Let's see here. Sorry, pulling back up. You would figure I would have no nature kind of like half memorized. So mental and social stats. 13. Aspirations: get a job, get a lot of money, get married, an obsession of what's this guy? Yeah. Yeah, the obsession that you get, again, in his own speech, howl at the moon.
Oh, yes.
Cool. And then I need you to roll Gnosis plus Mind, please.
Okay, sounds good. We're paying for things. Is this a clash?
This is a clash.
Okay. Let's spend another willpower.
Oh, actually, hang on. Before you do that, let me reread something. Okay. Oh, it's not a clash. I apologize.
Okay.
I'm going to roll some dice to make sure it actually happens.
Gotcha. Cool. Let me cancel that.
It definitely happens. That's exceptional.
Okay.
Your spell ends.
Whoa! Someone counterspelled it.
Dispelled it.
Or dispelled. Sorry, that's what I mean.
Of note, peripheral mage sights go off.
And there's at least 2 of us with active mage set up right now.
Correct. Which would help if they did not have cloaked nimbuses.
You try to layer on the things,
the spell because I'm getting...
You try to layer on all the things and be like, no info.
Oh, don't worry. There's still... Yes, okay. Spells cast while under the influence of this spell do not cause the caster's immediate nimbus to flare unless she chooses to. But wait, there's more. There is another spell going off. Also pinging your... first one, sorry, was Prime and Mind for Miss Ash there. Then another one goes off, and it is Time. And everybody in the room stops moving. Except...
Yeah, can I counterspell this?
If your mage side is on, you can indeed.
Mage side is on, yeah. You can definitely attempt to.
Yeah.
And also,
that's true. You're the only time person around here. Yeah.
Does not require withstand.
It's just Gnosis and Nicole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Gnosis and Time, rather.
Mm-hmm. And sorry, what was that, Ralph?
Does not require withstand. To bypass withstand. Freeze everybody.
Oh.
Whatever effect this is.
Mm-hmm. It would. Would you like to spend willpower?
I would, yeah.
Cool.
Can I spend willpower on a counterspell?
You can.
Yes, you can.
And Ralph, I'm not actually going to take that willpower from you. You can increase your resolve, but just I'll finish.
One of the subjects.
Craig is on it.
What did you say, Craig?
We're the subjects of the spell. Everyone else
gotcha.
is.
Okay.
It's like somebody wants to have a private conversation.
Okay, cool.
Craig jumped and put on the storyteller hat for a second. It's like, I know what's going to happen here. Yes.
That makes sense. I was thinking on John Paul's behalf, who would be like leaning into the wind when it starts blowing.
No, I totally agree. That's why I was going to let you keep the willpower.
Thanks. It's kind.
Counter spell is right. Clash of Wills. Dirt.
Yeah, they're probably going to beat it.
Do they?
You never know.
They spend willpower. Yeah, so they beat it.
It wasn't that good.
No, not for that many dice. Yeah, 14 dice for success.
Not for 14 dice.
My rolls. So yes, everybody in the actually for dramatic effect, right? There's somebody at the table around Ren. They're drinking happy, right? And the mug slams down, and then everything just kind of freezes. Save for and the 5 of you, including Rilla, right, are looking about and observing as everybody freezes. Now, there's still some motion in matter. So the area hasn't frozen, but each of these individual subjects, these individual people, have frozen for a moment.
So the drinks are still wobbling.
Yeah, there's a little bit of splashing. Yeah, food falls off of a fork. Yep. And the look at my notes. Use the right character. Yes, Red stands up. Who, by the way, this is in response to him feeling a prod on the eventual prod on his mind. Just that way we don't go through everybody. And kind of sets his mug down. Actually, leaves. Yeah, no, he sets the mug down. Kind of turns over and looks at John Paul and says, "Sir, could you settle down? Let's all be amenable, and there are sleepers here, and let's not accelerate and escalate things."
I think that happened when you came in with all kinds of spell effects on a whole bunch of different people to try and obfuscate your presence.
If you're not worried about any kind of altercation, then why conceal yourselves? And why conceal my ability to read what is plain to see?
Kind of leans back, and the chair kind of groans a little bit. He says, "Have you all met the Seers of the Throne? The Iron Pyramid? Lords of Oppression? Gods of Heaven? Assholes?"
And then at that, and then the Cloak and Isabel nod at each other. Yeah.
Yeah, we were in London this morning.
We just met them.
Interesting. Just met them. Okay,
Yes.
Well, perhaps you now understand why when visiting a town they haven't been to before, and there's the potential that there is a seer throne. Well, wait, hang on. Yeah, a seer plot in action, that one might come with a little bit of obfuscation and shield. Or do you think I'm an idiot?
Look, don't yell at me. I'm just trying to do my damn job.
In response to that, Cloak says, "You could be."
Can I roll with that? Actually,
Potentially, yeah.
Good.
Let me see what were you saying, Ruff?
You could also be using that obfuscation to hide the fact that you are one of those seers.
I could, and we will have that discussion. Oh, and Chris, what are you doing?
I want to essentially make this guy like me by just being like, "Look, I was just trying to do my job. It's all my friends that are being idiots and casting 14 fucking spells. We knew somebody was coming. I was gonna play it slow and use my human words."
No, that's cool. Yeah, and basically trying to bump that impression level up, kind of thing, and be like, "Hey, I was serving you drinks. I was here."
And let's do a sympathetic.
Sure. Okay. That bumps it up another, or
Opens 2 doors.
That's right. Cool. Yeah.
At the cost of a condition.
Yeah, and I think you are swooning, but in a like, hey, this not a romantic thing, because I don't know
Right.
that Isabel,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But just a like, dude's got some skills. Yeah.
Right.
And kind of leans back and says, "Okay,
He had me at asshole.
So, let's have a talk. Because the 5 of you, kind of looking over as like Rilla's squirming in her seats of like, this is just the worst day. Mortimer and Jules are over at a table, frozen. And let's talk. So, what did the Seers do?
They came
Let's
here.
back up a little bit first and let's find out who you are.
You can call me Red.
Yes.
And who do you represent?
Yeah.
That's a fair question.
So far, every other mage that isn't us has turned out to be a giant asshole, and so far you're not shaping up to be much different. So let's have a real conversation first.
I mean, have you met another mage?
Right, you've only met... Actually, you haven't met any, technically.
You haven't met any other mages.
No, but I've heard about it from those two.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Red says...
Theo has good reason to be suspicious.
Right. Red's fine. Won't mean anything to you all. I know you're new, but I represent the Adamantine Era.
Oh, that's who we thought we were. She just like blurts out.
Yeah, that sounds about
over.
right. We are the guard. Well, let me not say that because that's going to confuse things.
Not
in
the
a second.
Guardians.
Yeah, we are the ones who protect other mages. I think he says will workers. And you can think of us as soldiers, thugs if you're not feeling particularly charitable, but we make sure everyone is safe. From themselves, from seers, from their own mistakes.
That sounds an awful lot like whether you like it or not.
In some cases, absolutely. But there are others of us who, well, this fine country was built on a system of checks and balances, and I kind of like that. Within the Diamond Order, we all keep each other in check, at least within a proper concilium. The other thing that we do as the Adamantine Arrow is we do recon. We look into things. It's one of the things I'm particularly adept at. Look into your past, see potential futures, kind of looks straight at, I almost said Atratus, damn it, at Gisela and gives a nod. It's...
I'm just gonna nod back, like, I get you, but...
Yeah, because he caught the counter spell and he swatted it away, but it's like, I know my people. And says, one of the things we do, Legba, is our research. And we ensure that if we're going into a scenario where there may be problems, that we come and outgun the opposition. And having played fairly good fakes so far, everybody who came in with red shifts in their seats and kind of looks towards you all.
Of course. So Cloak, Mike leans back and says, if you know my name, then why did you ask all of these stupid questions and make these stupid assumptions? If you know my name, and he leans forward, you know that you could have reached us. You know that you did not need to come in guises and make our hackles rise. You know that you did not need to implicitly threaten all the people here who we have taken under our auspices. It seems, if you can work your will... Go ahead,
This is me.
Threatening.
Sure.
What threaten did he do?
Yeah, they haven't threatened anyone.
They've done nothing to threaten you guys.
Cloak considers it implicitly threatening to guise your form and then stop our magic.
The NAP.
And then put out the big dick energy and say, we're the Adamantine Arrow. We're also part of an authoritarian regime that makes people do what's good for them, regardless of what they think and feel. Yeah,
that
like all of this is highly threatening to say casually, like, hey, stop it, baby mages. We're gonna set the terms for this conversation. One, you can't know anything about us. We're gonna spoon feed you. 2, if you try and look into that, well, I just mean in the sense of dispelling no nature, which is not a threatening thing to do. The time stop, all of this is not a peaceful and open way to come in here. And in Cloak's mind, if he immediately knows the shadow name, right, and knows, I'm assuming, in Cloak's mind, like a lot of things go to get whirl real quickly. Assuming he understands the significance of what Legba means, right? Mm-hmm. The speech transcending boundaries, all of this stuff. He's asked us if we've met the Seers. He knows all this stuff. He knows the name. Legba now thinks he's completely full of shit because he acted like he didn't know anything about us, and he knows a lot. And he should know that. So in Cloak's mind, coming in here with a lot of people, cloaked not to seem like wizards, he would know we're not Seers. It just seems inconsistent in Cloak's mind, completely inconsistent, that he would come in and assert these things, ask us questions, and then say, oh, well, actually, I know everything there is to know about you. Which is what Cloak is assuming. I know he doesn't know all the stuff, but I'm saying that's why Legba immediately is asserting, wait a minute, right? Like, you don't get to come in here and just call me by my name, right? And then tell us things and ask us for all the details. Just like Theo is saying, hey, we need to have a conversation. Cloak is trying to assert that right now.
No, I get you. Yeah. And Red says, all right. And I'll tell you, the other ways we could have done this, Seers show up.
Theo holds up a hand. You need to stop that sentence right now if we're going to have a productive conversation. Because telling us the other ways you could have done this.
Do you want to let him talk?
Is an implied threat.
Okay,
no. Did you not listen to...
Thank you.
Like, you don't know he's threatening you. You're not letting him speak.
No, well, Theo's cackles are already up.
Sure. And that's...
This time stop is a good thing because it means we're not at risk of messing with everyone else in here.
Right, but
this was not a threat.
But the reason we picked this place was so that we had that protection around us.
Sure. No, it's fine. And that's fine. Just
you can't speak freely with them here.
And the one thing I'm going to ask all the players is to let me speak.
Go ahead.
Because here in a second, in character, people are just going to get stunned and shut down, right? Because they're in a hurry. You don't know that because I haven't been able to express it. Okay. Notably, we have a break also coming up. So, but Red holds up a hand. If you take that as a threat, and I can understand that. Because you are the one who has your understanding different from everybody else's here. I have seen multiple futures, multiple paths that this can go. Rough as this has been, and admittedly, I can see futures, not a future. This bumpy road is as good as we're getting. You all don't like us. I know that. You don't like the Seers any either. And then looks over at Gisela and says, but one of you has figured out why we're here already.
It wasn't the whiskey?
No, I mean... and Priest kind of lifts and has like poured himself another... and especially like the tensions are high, right? But there's a lot of shifting as everybody looks and says, we didn't bring this many of us for you. We brought this many of us because of the Seers. And we're hoping...
They can't come here.
That trick, by the way, real good. And I'm hoping it works. But there are ways past it. We saw it coming in. It's a bit of a work of art. Didn't foresee it. Didn't affect us, because what's the barrier?
You must not mean harm to anyone here.
Thank you, Jean-Paul. Cloak, which name would you prefer?
Please call me Cloak.
We know a lot.
No, actually, he says you know my name. Call me Legba.
So, we know a lot of stuff about you. There's a lot of stuff we don't know. There's a lot of stuff we can see from observation. There's a lot of stuff that requires getting up and talking. So, and kind of looks over at Isabel. Fucking names. I appreciate the cover that you provided us. Because of this, there's not going to be any little confusion here if it gets dark and we have a nice long conversation. It's dark already. So I appreciate that. Don't know if that was your work or my work making your work, and it's dumb. Don't ask questions. We'll talk about that later if need be.
I'm just going on. Yeah.
What?
It's going to be a
You can pull
conversation.
the threads.
Yeah. There's going to be a conversation here, and there's going to be some getting to know stuff that we're going to try and do quick. And if you all permit, we will be taking Miss Rilla there to safety. Or, depending on her decision as we speak with her, may stay here. A couple of us, and the married couple kind of raise their hand, wave at you, says, and play tutor for a season. But that's going to be a decision that the 5 of you make. But we have a limited amount of time before I will admit, potential assault is brought here. So, let's get down to brass tacks. That's where we're going to take our break.
Sounds good.
Oh, it's good. It's good. I knew there was going to be some antagonism. There's a reason there's a whole bunch of them, and it is kind of because of you guys. But yes, no. This is welcome. There's a bit of a war going on, and this is just one part of it. But yes, as I mentioned before, yes, there is going to be an opportunity to get hold of some rotes and learn some stuff, and yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh. Also, I love the in-character, out-of-character. Hang on, I don't like this guy. I don't like him either, but yeah, thank you.
I'm
like
just
this
over here
guy.
like, I like him fine.
Oh, it's
Like-
yeah. He's adamantine arrow, so he's a bit blunt and militant. The others are not all adamantine arrow, which you guys will get to know a little bit of.
We were this close. We were this close to the trope of I don't like you, you don't like me. I don't not like you.
I figured when you were like, and you don't trust me, you don't like, I'm just figuring like,
We're cool,
I'm
yeah.
fine. We're cool.
And don't. I actually was prepared. I was like, if I need to, I don't want to do it. I will have one of the, there, because there's Mastigos in here who's going to be like, and that character is stunned. Just you got to stop for a second. But thank you all for letting that actually go out via talk. I did not want to do player agency stuff. So, anyways, Twitch guys,
You do understand where Cloak was coming
absolutely,
from, though, right?
100%. Yeah.
If he hadn't used his shadow name, he would not have reacted that way.
Right. There was
Using his shadow name is like holding up your birth certificate. I know everything there is to know about you. All of
Sure.
these questions have been a ruse.
Right. Well, notably for him, and we'll talk about it after this, because I am kind of curious. There's another more meta-y way that I thought about doing this. We'll talk about it, and maybe that'll be better for other stuff in the future. But yeah, he knows the name, but he doesn't actually know what it means.
Oh, okay,
Right.
cool.
And that's absolutely fine,
Acanthus
because
stuff.
on John Paul's side,
Yeah, of course, out of character, I'm not
Right.
like,
Yeah.
this is a weird thing for an Acanthus to know. Just
right.
the naive Mastigos is like, why would you ask me any of this if you already
know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sorry, yes. Twitch guys, going on a break, go get some coffee, jumping jacks, pet the dogs.
Jump?
Yes,
Jump.
Just
Get some energy.
Jump around. And YouTube guys, back in a blink. Hi, YouTube. We're back. So, yes, Red says brass tacks. And the group basically get up, and you can see them like very carefully getting out of their chairs like leaving them precisely where they were, and coming around. And Red says, "It isn't fair if we all know your names in high speech, and we have given you pseudonyms. It is one thing I will tell you all now. Tell no one, no mage, your actual name. It will rob them of some power. Knowing just your names, we can reach out at great distances knowing just your name, but not knowing it greatly weakens our ability to harm one another outside of the visible range. Obviously, you all know one another's names, which is often within a group a thing kept sacred and safe to your close friends. And you can see him trying to like translate a lot of stuff out of concilium speech into as far as he is thinking,
into hick speak,
right? But points over to the priest. This is Jophiel. Jake he introduces as Limnir. Robert Phillips was Lasha. William and Pierce there are Enigmum and Enigmas. Red is the rainbow in the waterfall at sunset. And then back there.
That's pretty.
And back there, or as they step forward, and we didn't get to their names, but Benito and Katina are, well, she is Egrock.
Does he not have a name?
Not the way we do. He just goes by Benito. This is...
Is he like us?
He could have been, but did not. He is what Rilla could have been if she had failed on her journey and not made it to sign the tower. Of note, and kind of looks over and like puts his hand over Jules's head and said, "It is the path he is likely to walk if he does not get support." Kind of nods at Gisela again, at more support than that.
Do you have any advice?
I have not looked into his future, but perhaps a open and frank conversation on the dangers of looking into things that he is not ready to understand. And it will be hard for him. Probably for Mortimer too, but he's not really a concern.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Out
of character, of course.
Yeah, I know.
I would just love if that was in character, though.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Craig.
He's just waving it away.
Theo just kind of cocks her head and you characterize it as a failure? Why wouldn't that be a choice?
It could be a choice. It depends on how you look at it. Benito saw things and was unwilling, so perhaps a choice to step aside. But it is a failure to make it to the tower. This is not in any way lessen him. And Benito and Egrock have a wonderful marriage and a wonderful relationship, and they are a tandem team, and they are awesome. And like the two of them are back here, like they very, very like Morticia and Gomez Adams vibes, right? And they're both like they went from just kind of being kind of bland and observing everybody and bored to grinning and like, Red, stop.
Greatest romance ever, by the way.
Probably like partway through that, like irrespective of the fact that he's already talking, she goes, "Huh, I would not have thought failure and death to be two separate outcomes.
There are truly terrible outcomes for those who abandon or fall from that path that you have all seen. And he gives a very quick, so we don't waste time, he gives a quick understanding of the Harrowed and Banishers, people who either have a bad awakening or people who awaken and go, this is all bullshit, and starts tearing it down. Which mentions is also a concern for Jules.
I'm just gonna hold Rilla's hands.
Right. She is over here like shaking. She's like, I came how close to what? But right.
In character, I'm 100% on, we're together now. Like, in this, whatever going forward we gotta fight with. Out of character, we might not get to keep her, but like,
it is 100%
Gisela wants to.
Right. 100% up to you guys. So Red says, as I believe Gisela has discovered, there is a destiny over Rilla, and she is a fulcrum, a catalyst, a twisting point in fate for our world. Unfortunately, we cannot discern what that is. It is something in the future. It may be multiple somethings in the future. And we know that the Seers want to bend that change to their will. We are of the mind that we can't influence it. Obviously, anything the Seers want, we wish to deny. So we are here to, take her someplace safe and give her education, the education that you all have missed on, which is a frequent occurrence, especially the farther out you get into, Red says, uncivilized territory.
There are many ways to know things in the world.
There are. And one of the fastest ways is to study books and to learn from a mentor.
Is it too late for us to be educated?
No.
I have so many questions.
And we have so many answers. But I'm going to ask a question and kind of looks at Legba and says that I already know the answer for, but wish to hear you say it. Would you all abandon Purgatory Bluff? Go to New York?
No.
Absolutely not.
Right. So, as I said, Egrock has volunteered to spend some time here. She and Benito have been interested in coming out to the West and has some interest in the mysteries, and you can hear the capital M that lay out here. So you may work with her in a partnership, big emphasis there, and trade favors for education. You do not join up, you do not gain any benefits of our organization, and you are your own people, and we will stay out of your hair.
What organization is that?
The Diamond Order.
And you guys are at war with the Seers.
In conflict, in rebellion, there's numerous ways to put it, and war is an adequate one on my side of things. For some, and kind of looks back at Jake and says, it's a race. He who has the most toys and the biggest guns wins the war. There's a number of different ways you can look at this, but I serve the Adamantine Arrow. I am here to guard and protect other mages. Egrock. Go ahead.
And if we don't want any part of that war?
Keep your head down and try to not piss off the Seers. If this is your territory, we will do some paperwork, big air quotes, and say that Purgatory Bluff is off limits. You all have claimed it. We will recognize you as a nameless order. And he's throwing off these words that obviously are flying over your guys' head. And he knows it, and you will be this place's guardians. And we have rules of interaction and protocols where we will come see you. And while Igrok is here, she will speak to you on behalf of what she needs within Purgatory Bluff. This is your territory if you say it is. We will respect that. The Seers,
Cloak turns to Isabel.
not so much.
The Seers have already invaded.
And I think, and kind of makes a big motion, that the protection that Legba has placed over this will provide protection from the most aggressive threats until they can discover a key around it. But there are other threats that will not be intended as threats to the town or its denizens, and so we'll be able to walk in. So these are concerns, because all it takes, based on my observation, is somebody who wants to take away Rilla. And if Rilla does not feel that Purgatory Bluff is her home, there will be no protection for her here. But I'm kind of looking at Rilla, who has been quiet and like trying to be as small as she can in the corner. If you consider Purgatory Bluff your home and to live here now, then that guy or that protection would obviously apply to you too. And he is speaking heavily from the like fate side of things, of how like very, very, very Fey, what does the contract say kind of aspect.
What's the specific guideline?
It was protection for the people of the town.
Right. So there are others like Egrok, part of the Mysterium, who are librarians. Like there's a big harumph from both her, from Benito and Katina at the same time, but is very playful, and who collect knowledge and information, and they explore things that are impossible to sleepers, to normal mortals, and catalog them. And then there are the Guardians of the Veil, and the William and Pierce kind of nod, who watch over our souls, and kind of looks over his shoulder at them and warns of deviancy and seer infiltration and lots of other very good things. Like, and Red, with his face away from them, kind of gives you a look. Yeah.
I do hereby announce that I am here of my own free will.
and you can see that, the rainbow and the waterfall at sunset, and Red have very similar personalities, and there is this sense of humor, but Red is all humor, and Rainbow is a bit, the adamantine arrow comes out sometimes. And then there is the Silver Ladder, who provide organization, rules, paperwork, but they think, they keep things organized and provide a lot of the togetherness of our order, and admittedly have probably kept things from becoming a inflammatory war with the Seers. Necessary drudgery. Jake from the back, kind of coughs and goes, sure. There's magic in paperwork. And like, looking at this guy hasn't ever held a pencil. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah.
Was he the cowboy?
No, this is the he's got the cowboy hat. Yeah.
Jake Barr.
Yeah, he's the big old barrel chest guy. Yeah. This guy looks like he does bar fights, not past the bar.
He wants to get a lot of money and get married.
Got him. Got it. You got there.
There we
Took me
go.
a sec. So we all represent different aspects of the Diamond Order to admittedly attempt to, recruit Rilla. But if Rilla feels safe with you all and the protection of the Supernal will help shield her until you all get your feet underneath you and can do more to defend yourselves and or to obfuscate yourselves, as you have seen that we can do. And in fact, a lot of what Rilla can do is help obfuscate you all. But that was a lot of me talking. And you have questions, and some of them I can foresee without magic, but you have to ask first.
And we've been talking a lot about Rilla, but Rilla is present in the room. Theo turns to Rilla.
And
how
Rilla,
are you feeling?
Yeah, Rilla in a small voice goes, and Rilla is a little overwhelmed. I'm learning a lot. Like, she's new enough, she still has the pneuma, floating off of her, and, can still exactly remember what the watchtower looked like. Though, admittedly, I think every mage can remember exactly what their watchtower looked like. But I am comfortable here. The idea of never returning to London is a little bit daunting, but the Seers are in London. Red kind of leans over and says the Seers are everywhere. If they are not physically there, they have agents there, and kind of looks at Isabel and says, everywhere. I'm not 100% sure your father's relationship to them. He may not have known everything, but everywhere.
Certainly have learned a lot today.
Kind of looks at, Jean-Paul, but wherever there is oppression, they are there.
Jean-Paul grits his teeth and says, he's about to get angry, and then he pauses contemplatively and is like leaning on, the aspect of Legba and needing to understand situations and distance and connection. And so he asks a question. He asks, we think of oppression as an intrinsic aspect of society, that wherever there will be people who oppress others. I don't believe that's true. I believe that it happens when we stray from Bondier, when we stray from our higher ideals, when we don't give in to those impulses we have to do better, and we give into the impulses we have to do worse and to be lazy, to take the easy road rather than the hard.
Jake.
How long has this war been fighting? Sorry, go ahead. What, Jake? I want to hear about
you're fine.
Jake,
Jake laughs and says, "Oh, he already knows about Atlantis." But Red says, "Yeah, the war.
What?
The war goes on since forever. Atlantis is ignore him. It's a myth. It's a fairy tale."
I don't want to ignore him.
Red throws his hands up, sits carefully back down into his chair. Limnir, you have the floor. Make it short. Jake kind of steps up and hat and kind of bows to everybody. Atlantis is the future, boys and girls, and like the snake oil salesman pitch. But it's very clearly like putting on a show.
Yeah.
And you guys like watch as his appearance changes as he clearly is stepping into Limnir, and that barrel chest becomes a little bit more hairy. But I mean, he's got the shirt on, so but yeah, like he is this like wolf man kind of thing. He is a Theodosia. And says long ago, and in
I give him some background music.
oh yeah
Yeah.
long ago, and kind of looks over at you and nods and like gives you a little up the tempo, right? And there was a place and will be a place where mages do our magic before sleepers, and there is no abyssal, I don't know what word he's, influence upon it. There's no hiding, there's no veil. Points at Jean-Paul. Everyone understands that space is a lie. Distance is not a thing. We are all connected. Or at least that's how it's supposed to go. The oppression is thrown out and everyone does their own thing, cares for one another, has their place in society, not because they are put there, but because they wish to be there. He puts his head on.
That sounds very nice.
Yep, we're working that. We're heading there. America. It's the plan.
Good luck.
We're gonna need it.
Who's gonna tell him?
Oh yeah, no, he knows. He knows. I mean, it's 1846, and there are, black bodies in bondage.
Yep.
Yeah. Manifest Destiny about to kick the fuck off.
Oh yeah.
Too.
So Cloak.
Isabel
Go.
turns to her coven mates. You may ask them any questions you see fit. Rilla, you may make your own decision. I will not try to influence you one way or the other. And then to the others, you said you were under a time limit. We seem to be taking quite a bit of it. So to uncomplicate or to take myself out of the equation, I'm going to go enjoy my storm.
And like you watch all of them kind of look and be like, "Are you sure she's a mage?" But I mean, your questions are not these kinds. You're like, "Nah, I'm gonna go and step out into the rain."
And also, like, if someone is coming,
Sure.
Gonna be a lightning strike.
howdy do.
Mm-hmm. Gonna be ready.
I dig it. Is there anything specifically you're heading out there to do?
Yep. I'm gonna cast the spell.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. While you were working that up, Rolf, you were about to say something?
Yeah. So Cloak asks Jake as he's stepping back, like, no one's gonna believe it. Cloak has been looking at him this whole time, right? With no touch of suspicion on his face when he's describing this place devoid of oppression, where people understand their paths and their motivations and their destinies and things like that. And he asks, do you know anything of Vodou?
Nope. But always happy to learn some new stuff. We'll talk.
Well, all
Okay.
right. If
and just mostly that we keep this moving on the Rilla train. But feel free if
sounds
you
good.
want to
Let's go.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't have to elaborate now. It's fine.
Okay.
Please go ahead, Ash.
I have so many questions for the Red is the Acanthus, right?
Mhm.
Later.
absolutely. As long as we're here, we will try.
Yes, I have many, I guess, more personal questions.
Yeah, we if we can, we will be tutors for the short time that we are here. If this is your territory and you are not part of the Diamond Order, we will not overstay our welcome. But we will try to give protection and guidance and knowledge that you can use as you see fit. We cannot force you. That would be oppression. I heard a ping. Summons
Yes. Alpha. Bring him down. Y'all motherfuckers want to come in my town? Let me show you something.
Manifest a lightning dragon.
Fuck yeah.
Instant duration, scale, complex task, open condition.
Yes.
Sure. The one reach, cool. How much money are you spending?
None.
And just using
3 dice.
Roll that shit up.
Just one. Dope.
And leaning into the shadow name of Petrichor. And the Cabal theme of protecting the town.
Yeah.
The complex command is to reach out to Alphoth, and this is in her mind a big step, because the previous times that I have talked to him, it has been subservient. And this is, you will do this for me.
Oh, yeah.
I have called your storm here, and now I command you to protect the area above which it resides. And if someone arrives, meaning us harm, you will strike down from the sky.
He is going to have an issue knowing who means them harm, so I'm going to meta tweak that, and based on when you call it out.
It's exactly.
Joke. Yeah, so within, Thyrsis Mage Sight, well, not Thyrsis, Spirit Mage Sight, intro to the boss theme that just kind of keeps playing because he doesn't come down. But yeah, like big lightning dragon just cruising.
I gotta cast it, right?
Oh shit! The 8 dice. Yeah, go for it. Please do. I was looking at the 8 dice as your spell cast.
7 dice.
Yep. I was like, man, you calculated it up real quick. Wasn't far off 7 dice. Now I'm gonna laugh. I'm not gonna put that out in the world. Okay, there we go.
3 successes.
Yeah. So, yeah, and you feel a kind of a wrenching motion. Not like Alphoth wasn't in this storm, but he is now.
Right.
And yeah, like there's no communication. He's up there. I'm going to give you a little bit of he's a little perturbed, so you might have conversation later, but
that's fine.
Yeah, I know Chris is on board for that. Inside, you all have your peripheral mage sight kind of like tingle, and you watch as Jake specifically, excuse me, that like I think actually that like Jean Paul starts to like have a little conversation about voodoo, and Jean Paul is like Jake puts his hand. Just, I heard something outside. Goes outside. All right, shaman. And walks back into the. Cool.
And then I'm going to fill my pattern with
lightning essence. Nice. Storm essence. Cool. And while you're running that up, back inside where conversation is happening, Rilla basically kind of gives a little hip check to Gisela and kind of gets out of the booth, and she starts doing this little pace, kind of similar to what you guys had seen her doing when up and everybody was waiting to see if they could find the void and stuff like that. And she just starts off like a mile a minute asking, not even probing questions, just like definition questions. What you said, sleepers, what do you mean? Stuff. It's a bunch of meta stuff that out of character you guys already know, but a lot of the basics of what the supernal is, what the abyss is, what seers are, why they care, what's this lie, why can't sleepers do boom, 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 boom. And she's just talking, and you can definitely see the trying to understand so she can make an educated, guess. decision, really. And it takes probably 20-30 minutes. And if you guys have other questions to fill in, feel free to let me know. Essence. No reach. Or excuse me, no overreach.
No paradox.
6, 9. Wait, no. 8.
7 dice. 8.
I'm gonna roll 7, that's fine, make it fun. Okay. Cool. And you said fill up. So how much essence is that just for buying?
4.
Oh. So. And you just suck that out of the storm. So it's all storm essence?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah. So back inside. Obviously, like red, rainbow, waterfall. He goes by a couple different aspects there, but says, he's kind of just giving her the quick answers as fast as he can, and looks like suitably, not necessarily intimidated, but just kind of surprised at her, because she swaps. Like, she went from being like quiet in the corner, like, hey, this is a lot, to fine, I have to understand something. And she just bullies him like a professor. And just like, I need to know all of this stuff right now. And so, yeah, you guys get, the first chapter of the Mage book, and the basics. Afterwards, she kind of leans back and looks at the people who are still kind of frozen solid and staying there, and says, do I need to make a decision like now, or do I have time to think on it, sleep on it? Red kind of gives a shrug and says, the longer we linger, the longer you linger here, the more chance something goes wrong, but we don't need an immediate answer. We can kind of looks at a couple people and says, we can let everybody finish eating, and just kind of relax and enjoy our evening a little bit. And you all can, kind of points out to the table that you guys are sitting at, and can continue eating and drinking and talk amongst yourselves, and kind of looks out at the storm where there's this like fuzzy shape of, Isabel Petrichor, lashing out at the storm. There's that next set of, peripheral mage sight tingle as pulling down essence. But if we are to leave and to take you with us, the faster we do it, with the less time lingering here, because all it takes is a mage who means no harm to the town to come here and look at the past of this town, of this room, to see where this conversation happens, to see where we go from here. There are a lot of threats of us not being under layers of wards.
Do you know when they might come? Like, I knew when you would come.
It's the trick of fate and time. We can look and see and observe what may happen,
and then change it.
Or even if you are looking at your own future, just seeing your own future may change your own future, let alone what decisions you may make.
Schrodinger's future.
That's why I went outside.
What is that, Craig?
It's Schrodinger's future.
And that's not including all the things that may happen.
But you can pick the future.
It can be unwise to decide a future for others, or to use magic to get what you want. For instance, I could have just taken my compatriots and I back to before we walked in, to before Legba greeted us in high speech and given it another go, knowing that that was how Legba was going to approach us. And we could have done that again and again and again until we got it right. You all thought we were benevolent friends who meant absolutely nothing but gifts and joy and were your beloved grandparents. But that would have been manipulating you. And I will not have that. And kind of turns and looks over at kind of make sure. Who's the troublemaker? Robert Phillips, Lasha. Not going to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I did not see into your memories. I did not, try to probe in more than what I can observe vaguely. But
so what all can you do?
He smiles, and it's like the Santa Claus wink, right? It says anything. If you're willing to deal with the consequences, the sacrifices that may be necessary. For all of us here live within normal society. Kind of motions over to Jophiel and says, Jophiel is going to speak with your priest about setting up a school here. He is, in fact, sent by his superior general, who has no idea of what Jophiel is capable of. But it provides a nice little excuse for all of us to get together. Our laborers will spend some time here, a couple months maybe, and then move on. Benito and Katina, they have a reason to stay. So we will come, we will go, and that will be it. But I myself will probably leave with the boat, perhaps with Rilla. Yeah.
If she chooses to stay, she's not bound here, right? She could choose to leave in the future.
Of course. There are oaths I would have the four of you say in terms of protecting her as part of protecting the town, so long as she stays here. You have all made it very clear that this is your town. It kind of knocks on the table.
We have already sworn an oath to protect the town.
I believe it. And I would like to enhance it. Make it stronger. And with it, I'll write the paperwork. No, but not just an oath to the town, but to one another and to guard Rilla. While you are all amazing human beings with your own lives to live, right now, so long as this destiny hangs over Rilla, and there may be a point in the future where her time is past and she hides safely here within Purgatory Bluff and no change comes. At which point the Seers will stop caring and find a new target. For all we know, unlikely as it is, whatever she decides here may shed the destiny from her. But destinies are... Go ahead.
It might be helpful to bring up that this town has already been affected by an oppressive influence that attempted to cause calamity. We subverted that calamity. That is why Rilla and her associates came here in the first place, to perform astronomical observations of a void in space that was cold and a confluence of minds and destinies, all focused on heartache.
You resolved this threat before or after their arrival?
Before.
It hasn't been resolved.
Yeah, that's a can we kicked down the road. I think.
After.
Yeah, because they showed up and then you did stuff. So yeah.
What? I'm confused. What are you talking about?
You resolved the issue.
Yeah, the
after
trying to kill Sanite.
Right, but you resolved it after the Rilla and all them arrived. The Royal Society arrived.
Oh, I sorry. For some reason, I thought they were talking about the Seers.
Right. No,
Sorry.
I understood
I
the
misunderstood.
potential
God.
confusion.
Thank you. Yeah. All right.
But yeah, the thing is still in the mine. Which, speaking of, I would like
That's not what I meant.
some input as to what to do about this thing.
The thing within the mine?
It is an entity
Right.
of entropy and chaos.
A supernal being? A moray?
Yes, I could see it,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
and
Yep.
Isabel saw it once.
And like Brent holds up his finger and looks at everybody else and specifically looks over at Jake, and Jake is like, I don't know about this shit. We may learn some things from
Gonna
you
get
all.
me dissected.
Yeah. We may yet learn something of you all. Interesting.
But if I could, I would like your assistants maybe come look at it and see if you can tell me what to do with it.
Yes, perhaps. Like I said, there's a potential for all of us to be here for a couple days. And actually,
Because we can't. Can we kill it?
I think you could ask it to leave.
both are options. Asking it to leave is the best option, but they have minds of their own, and if this one is particularly, well, they're not malevolent. They don't think the way we do, but
Yes, but what it is
terrible.
bad.
So, from our perspective, so is death. But it is a natural thing. Entropy is a natural thing. But if it is...
It almost collapsed a roof on my father.
Oh, this is personal. But yes, we can bargain with it, perhaps. Banish it. Killing it is an option that, and like the enlightened wisdom guy goes, I really don't like that idea. There's this guy you need to call. Fuck, what was Craig's character's name?
Vicar.
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 You may need to call a vicar to have an exorcism. Richmond or Virginia
Check out
miniseries
Richmond
reference there,
Chronicle.
kids.
Richard, yep.
Check it out.
Okay,
It was
but yes, that also serves
Like
the purpose
shooting
of
supernals in a barrel.
Mhm.
letting me know that that's a bad idea.
Yeah, to destroy one like that, or like the wolf that Limnir says follows Isabel. Not great ideas. To destroy them is to send their essence into the abyss and destroy a little bit of our world. And therefore strengthen the abyss and weaken the supernal, which is effectively really just not good,
No, it is not.
without getting into more details. So, okay, a mystery for us to solve. Didn't see that one coming. Meanwhile, Eggrock is back there, and you have seen pulling out of her little pocket his little notebook, and she is jotting
Taking
down
notes.
notes. And yeah,
I have a
In
question.
big underlined letters. A Thyrsis saw a moray ? Exclamation point.
Go, Ralph.
Cloak looks at Red and asks, if you agree to respect this town as our territory, or perhaps in a word I would prefer, the area in which we work to the benefit of the others who live here, are you expecting something from us in return?
He grins and nods. Personally, no. Limnir back there, he's going to have some expectations for you.
What are those expectations?
Limnir stands back up. Glad you asked.
I'm just leading in for the sales pitch.
Right, yeah. And then like immediately just pumps the brakes and says, truthfully, professional respect. It's the long and short of it. We will treat you as friendly cousins. We do not ask anything of you without expecting a favor in return. If some threat were to come to you, understand that we may not be able to rush to your aid, but if we can provide some assistance, we will. And if there's something within your power similarly, we will expect some kind of assistance as well. But we also understand that there are 5 of you. And you are new. And you do not have centuries worth of resources and troves of knowledge. And you can definitely see he's looking at Rilla as he says this, because he's making the silver ladder pitch, right?
Yeah.
You know, so
Cloak
many
says, for all the wealth of knowledge in the world, all the books, all the power that can be obtained through study, the upper limit is your own understanding, and that varies from person to person.
It does.
So, we may be but 5, but 5 people can do a lot, provided that their understanding of the right tools is high enough.
I agree. But you're more likely to find those 5 in a big crowd like ours. And he knows where you're coming from, and like there's this big wink. Like he knows he's not going to get you guys over.
I'm just kind of like, yeah, but we don't have that understanding though, and they do.
Does Gisela say that in character?
I mean, basically while you're giving this pitch, I'm just like, theoretically, if we understood all of this, sure. But we don't.
Indeed, we don't. But the point I'm trying to make is that it is an error to underestimate the will that can be worked by 5 when they have achieved a certain level of understanding. And that until we have the understanding to make use of certain resources, those resources are not as powerful as they would be otherwise. So the offering of books and tomes and power is less compelling because it's something that we could not immediately use.
Another thing to consider is signing on with them means signing on for their war.
Indeed.
And
their war has already come.
And
their war has not come here.
Well, and Red says
it was in Isabel's bedroom.
Right.
That was not the war.
No, that was the precursor. That was the recon, whether or not to strike. If they came into your home through your unlocked door, if you'll understand the expression. Now you've learned to lock the door, and you have a damn good lock on it. But somebody can pick that. And if you are not ready, if you are not experienced, they will catch you with your pants down. And
indeed,
we do not intend to leave here with you in such a state. But the war that we wage, it will come here. And I pray that you are able to bunker down. Yeah, we'll use bunker. And shield your friends and family who live here and keep away any of that intrusion and live in safety. And in a small town like this, besides what apparently is happening in your mind, the possibility of things to draw their attention are minimal. And you may live in peace and quiet and safety and develop your understanding with no outside pressures. It will be idyllic. It is the pasture that the armies march by and have no need to burn or plunder. And I hope that for you all. But I am not saying it is a guarantee. And I would lie if I said, you'll all be fine here.
I appreciate your caution and qualification of the possible dangers we will experience or may experience. And I believe I'm being collectively misunderstood in my point about understanding and power and resources. I'm not asserting that we can deal with all problems that come our way. I'm merely making a point about what's been offered to us and what we can gain in exchange. So I think I should perhaps say it a little differently. We're being offered a mutual protection pact. We're being offered an at least implicit expectation that when things happen that are dangerous and we have the means to aid them, that we would. And in exchange, they would reciprocate when we are in a similar situation. It has been just stated more than once that the war that they are fighting has come here, and it will come again. And it is unlikely that we can deal with it on our own, based on the collective perception of what abilities we have and what tools we need. And those tools are only available if we enter into an agreement of mutual protection. Oh, okay. So perhaps I misunderstood. Are you saying that you're willing to give us all the knowledge you have and all the tools that we could use based on the limit of our own understanding without any expectation that we would belong to an official partnership wherein we have to participate in this war that you're prosecuting?
What I am saying is, when we leave here, you will have the knowledge to make the decision. You will have the understanding of what is in our storeroom, so that if something does come knocking, and you have fair warning, you can run to us and say, I need this. And we will say, here it is. You owe us one, but pay us back when you have a chance. We have no reason. There are, as Limnir just said, there are 4, 5 of you. If we call for you and ask, you need to help us, we are not expecting you to go off to London. We are going to ask you to help you here in this territory, or a town over, back up towards, I cannot remember the name of the stupid fort, but there, in your territory. There's no reason to call on you and expect you to come to our aid miles and miles away and leave your own home unprotected. All we are asking is, like a dear distant cousin, we will write you a letter and let you know something is happening. We do not expect you. If you are not coming to join and sign up with us, we do not hold the same expectations. If we call out and say we need help, and you respectfully, with all love and duty, blah 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 blah, can't help you, we understand. We won't owe you one, but we will understand. We are not going to twist your arm. We are not the Seers.
I think you're doing a good job at assuaging my general concerns. But perhaps I should ask my question a different time in a different context.
Sure. We will be here. The arrival of all of us in this rather memorable storm, and then all of us leaving suddenly the following day or even the next week would arouse quite a number of suspicion.
Rumors.
Yes. Which actually, as I start to think about how much time is passing, he reaches over and touches like the meal Jules was having and kind of winces and goes, Limnir, could you, yeah, and runs out.
Reheat all the foods.
And rethermalizes everything.
I hadn't thought about that. That's not bad. But goes out to find Isabel. Just enjoying the storm, or is there, okay, cool. Limnir kind of comes out to the, under the awning and stuff and goes, Ms. Pilar, I believe Red is going to be starting the clock again. You may be missed inside with just the one waitress. And this is a very good decision on Chris / Petrichor's, like,
She like turns and looks and like coming off the like with like
lightning in the eyes,
metaphorically, lightning in her blood. Fine.
Yeah, and like stands there at the balcony porch words, and looks at you, nods, and says, "It's a rush. You okay?"
Better than ever.
Just, make sure they don't see. You're very clearly talking about the sleepers, and kind of steps inside with you. And there's a definite no, we dear sis, as he walks in, because he's still Limnir, right? And
I think as she steps out of the rain,
mm-hmm.
right? It's this there's enough of a distance at that point where it's no, yeah, you're right.
gotta shed this off a little bit, yeah. As you come in, Egrok kind of says, "Let me help," and kind of walks over and grabs your shirt just at the corners and goes floof, and there's a little peripheral mage side as the water just beads and just slooshes and then wiggles like a little snake right out into the on the. Talk with that one and points at Theo. And meanwhile, there's another little peripheral mage site as Jophiel and I can't remember the twins go around and they're touching food and just trying to warm up a couple things. And Red is
just hold on. Whenever a Brimos or somebody with forces, just channel it from the fire.
Oh, sure, but they're trying to figure out how much warm everything needs to be.
Sure.
And mostly because for comical effect. And then and Red is all right, everybody in your places, please. We will talk after dinner, I believe. Everybody kind of gets back into their spots. A couple, mugs are picked up, and then for a wink at the audience there, if everybody would cough, please. And a couple little coughs, and then everybody starts moving again, and the conversation starts back up. And yeah, Rilla is there with Gisela and Theo, and I guess was Cloak sitting with him?
No, not yet. He was still standing up.
He had gotten up and walked out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. But yeah, and so thank you, Perry. Clap on. As conversation starts up, and you definitely watch as everybody here has kind of shifted into a like back into their sleeper personas and are conversing and stuff like that. And there's conversation you guys hear of them like, oh yeah, I'm going to be here for a bit, you know, especially amongst the main group there in the middle tables, all the miners, they're trying to figure out, okay, how bad is it? What shift is worse? Which supervisor is, you know, what shift do I want to get on? Stuff like that. And, you know, they start to hear about the, you know, the black miners, the maroons, and, oh, wow, really? And they're pretty good actors, but you know, definitely playing up their knowledge, you know, or rather playing up their lack of knowledge. Meanwhile, in the corner, the married couple, you watch as Katina is just watching the 5 of you, and you know, she continues to make little notes in her book, and you know, orders food. But yeah, while everybody else is conversing, Egrock is watching you all closely. And so, you know, Rilla kind of looks over and does Cloak join them again?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, you know, Rilla kind of leans over, and as, you know, Theo's, you know, doing the waitress thing a little bit, and kind of comes over and says, I really don't know. And this is where we get into the, you know, in the video game thing, what do you think I should do? You know, conversation tree. And Rilla is leaning towards leaving. She doesn't, you know...
They got all that knowledge.
Right, there's a lot of the knowledge. She also is not a, like, country girl, like being out here. Is, you know, she belongs in the city. She, you know, maybe I'll go be in New York. I don't, you know, where, you know, she's not sure even where they would take her, which read New York City. Thank you, Chris.
She's definitely not going to be able to have a whirlwind Western romance if she leaves.
Right. But yeah,
her
aspirations, but that's true. Actually, her aspirations haven't changed yet. But
yeah, you said that.
You know,
so when I casted it again yesterday.
Right. Yeah, I remember. Or actually, that was this morning.
Or this morning. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was this morning.
Yep. But yeah, she nods, and you know, but there's, you know, the potential to be, you know, because the knowledge is there, but she does mention like, but to be like one of 5, you know, to be this small group. And she brings up, like, it's one of the things that she has enjoyed being with Mortimer and Jules is the problem solving together, and just the 3 of them putting their heads together, even resolving mundane things like logistics and where we're going to eat. And we are hungry, and where should we hunt, you know, and, you know, things, well, actually probably not that much. They haven't been that out in the boonies, but yeah, if any of you have...
You also don't have to stay forever.
That's very true. It's true. Things we may, you know, like squeezes your hand again and says we may shed our destinies. That's true. And go ahead. What were you saying, Ruff?
Rilla, the whole point of our conversation was to confirm that we would have access to their knowledge regardless of where we are. So you can get your questions answered, and also I can take you to London anytime you want.
But then leave the ward? Leave this protection?
What I mean is, if you wanted to visit, you could, and you could come back. The world is open to you, because you are here with a group of others who have the means by which to connect you elsewhere. And you've just seen that there are those who do not mean us harm, that can come here. It's entirely up to you. I don't have any particular perspective other than to assert that there is value in trying to learn and understand things on your own without the direct influence of others who have a lot of experience, because that will bias and cloud your interpretation.
Right. And the bias part especially, she nods on, and she's like that. Yeah, absolutely. What were you saying, Craig?
Practically speaking, they would probably be in a better position to protect you than we would.
Yeah. But I mean, let's be honest. Somebody shows up in town, we all notice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially if we learn new tricks from them before they leave. And
Very true.
They did say they would help us.
right. If well, I mean, regardless of if I stay or not, they will help you. So I don't feel like a bargaining chip.
I will also say this. I'm not ambivalent about this war. I asked the questions before on our collective behalf. However, I will state that I completely detest a group of will workers who are working to oppress the entire world. And if I have the means, I will do something about that.
And she gives a grin. She already knows the answer, but she's like, "Oh, are you thinking of joining up too?" We could create our own little chapter of the Diamond Order here.
Not exactly.
We could.
Yeah. Fast forward 50 years.
And I swing by at one point.
Yeah, because
And-
she's definitely making sure that
Right. Rilla, my thought is that you should follow your instincts. And each of us will tell you our own thoughts, our own perspective. But you have just been through a different path. Perhaps listening to that is what you should do.
it's true.
You must find the place on the wheels of the earth that you fit in.
She looks and nods, and she's like, "I'm trying to understand. Is that a reference?" But okay, yeah, no, that's
No, I'm speaking the language that she would have seen.
Right, the mandalas. No, I get it, but that's
that I would have gotten a brief
true,
glimpse
yes.
into.
But yeah, no, she's nodding. She's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah." We're in her head, where does my cog go? Right. Yeah. And
Right. But Isabel doesn't know those words, so the wheels of the earth was as close as I got.
And it's a little, I don't know. I can see it could be a little self-serving, but being somewhere where all of her input is important and valued because we don't have someone who has your perspective.
And she
Whereas I've seen the way that you've been used, basically.
which, yeah, that's a big one for her. She nods and she's like, "Yeah, stop being a scientist and be a witch." And like she says it a bit.
You can still be a scientist.
That's true. But yeah, she says the word a little bit loud and kind of shrinks. Nobody even turns, but she's like, yeah, a little bit empowering and being one of a small group and being an equal member. Kind of looks over at Jules and Mortimer, who've been, conversing and eating and kind of looking over at, the group of you, especially as you guys are kind of naturally just kind of huddled around Rilla. And,
I'm just gonna look over at Jules and be like, maybe we keep him? Depending on how things go for him.
Have you mentioned... Well, yeah, you've mentioned the ruin that you saw to everybody else, but not necessarily to Rilla, right?
I know she's just woken up. She hasn't been filled in on that.
So,
but the other guy did just say that he is on
the path. That's true. Yeah,
on the path. Yeah,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, convince Mortimer. I mean, he'll be sad to see me go, but he can find another scribe somewhere.
Assistant exploit.
Yes.
You
should be somewhere.
You all think so
elderly
poorly
scientist
of
gets-
Mortimer, but
Elderly scientist gets lost in the wilds of America. Whoops.
like Rilla reaches
he
over and
seems-
gets a little wide-eyed and slaps at your hand. Don't you dare!
What?
I mean, he seems perfectly
It was a joke.
fine.
It's about right.
Isabel just says, I would only consider that if he doesn't listen to what I told him about not making that potion.
Oh, yeah. Before he leaves, we need to just, makes a little lifting motion, putting into her pocket. But okay.
And I don't want them to have it either.
She puts her hands on.
Oh yeah, they looked.
Oh yeah, the Diamond Order. Yeah.
No, I didn't hear Gisela blab about me having seen.
Oh, that's true.
Oh yeah.
So.
Or Isabel didn't hear.
Rilla nods and she says,
"But yeah,
okay.
it's just like I don't want them to
That's
know
true.
about it either until we know more about it."
Mortimer. Rilla puts her hands on the tables and nods. I've made my decision. And everybody go find out in 3 weeks.
All right.
Why are you so mean?
Mostly because that way we can talk a little bit off camera.
Yeah.
But I have made Rilla's decision, so unless you guys say, something else. 3 weeks. Yes, thanks for asking, Perry. So next week we're going to be off because we're just going to have a little chill. We're also about to have a time skip. When we come back in 3 weeks, a year will have passed.
Whoa.
And so we're going to be talking about what new normal everybody has found in. Their Gnosis and Arcana are not going to change. They may find a reason to spend some other XP that they've accumulated currently, and we may kind of hand wave, oh yeah, they cast this long-term spell, and we're going to hand wave the dot of willpower to leave it lasting and stuff like that, because there's a little bit, because you can buy it with just regular XP, so that's just normal life.
Incognito presence
Depending on what you cast it on, but yes, up to ST
on the
thing,
Hallow
but
that Cloak has been maintaining since.
Oh yeah, the
guy
secret
cast
door.
that a
Yeah,
character. Yeah. Or secret
the
door.
secret
That's
door,
right. It
yeah.
wasn't incognito presence. Sorry.
Yep. But still, need to do something about that, especially since Drew made you cast it.
Exactly.
And then, but everyone's like, wait, 3? Okay, yes, we're going to take a week off for that. The next week, we're going to come back and we're going to do a Q&A. So we're going to do Q&A through episodes 1 through 20, ask about that stuff coming in the future, other general stuff. The Q&A chat is on Discord. So notably, because we're doing this, YouTube guys are not going to get screwed, because usually we're like, hey, we're going to do a Q&A next week, and most people would watch it on YouTube and be like, wait, hang on, when? And not have time to get questions in. So the Q&A chat is open on Discord. That is yeetinto.space, www.yeetinto.space, and go in and try. There's a Q&A channel. Put in your questions. Please use spoilers just for everything, unless it's a very general question. But you can ask us about all sorts of stuff. Please keep it somewhat appropriate. I know how you all are. We will throw out the questions that we don't want to answer.
So just to be clear for the YouTube folks, no episode on the 8th.
Oh,
and
yes.
the Q&A is the 15th of October.
Yes.
Okay.
That is when it will be
Right,
live streamed.
Yep. And this is also letting me do something I wanted to do for a long time, which is do a catch-up episode. So we'll also, I'm going to do a little short thing. I'm going to rope in Noctal, who is, and maybe Camo, because I think Camo's rewatched it again. But Noctal has been doing lore gathering and has some trivia that we'll talk about during the Q&A, like, hey, who cast the first spell? Who do you know? And we'll play a little game with that for some dumb, silly stuff. But we'll do I'm going to do a little short, hopefully just 5 minutes catch-up thing, so that way, if you've got friends that you're like, hey, come watch this with me, they're like, I don't want to watch 20 episodes. Cool, here's 5 minutes. This will get you caught up until the year break, and then they'll be able to jump right in with you, bring more into the cult. So yeah.
Man, whoever is at fault for us not getting to play for 3 weeks really just needs to be
beaten. Yeah. This also happens to coincidentally coincide with next week and the week after. If you're like, I don't care about a Q&A, or I'll catch it on YouTube, this basically same time slot, OPP is going to be doing their Kickstarter 2 two-parter for the Werewolf the Apocalypse. I cannot remember the name of it, but it's their new book that's on Kickstarter. So their game was like, hey, they want to do it on Fridays. Are you cool? And I was like, by happenstance, we're definitely going to be off one week because somebody's busy, and then the next week is kind of iffy. So how about we take 2 weeks off, and that way it'll be kind of chill. I will also get a little bit of time to work with my players and do some good like prep for the time skip and do some prep for where we're going next, because we still have a couple little things hanging out. We will narratively probably resolve the supernal being in the mine, but there is a book. There is a potential murderer in the mine. There are other discoveries that they may want to go chase after. Chris is making the face. Y'all think I forgot about that, didn't you?
Yeah, we talked to the ghost.
Talked to the ghost, and he was...
Or tried to talk to the ghost. He had been murdered.
He had been murdered by a couple people. And so, yeah, we're going to get down...
Yeah, not a potential murderer. We know they killed him because he was, from their perspective, an asshole.
Right. Now, that said, are they still there? Who knows? If only there was a town...
Oh, I just wrote that off as not murder.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think that's kind of how it happened for many people.
That's why I was confused.
Yeah. But, if there's a sheriff in town that's going to look into things, that thing might come back up. So, yes. So we're going to have 2 weeks of not playing Mage, and then come back on that third week refreshed, energized, and prepped, and back into it, which is very amusing because I just found out that Critical Role is taking 1 week off a month to do the same kind of thing. I'm like, copycats. I was about to announce that, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna announce it on Thursday. They stole my notes. Critical Role, stop watching our show.
No, Critical Role, please start watching our show.
Please.
That'd be cool.
Bring us a crumb of your followers, please.
I mean, let's be honest. There is a crumb of our... I mean, I know, Craig, I think you watch Critical Role, and I think there's a couple other folks in chat who watch it. It's all good.
So
that is
halfway through the first season.
I finished the first season, jumped into the second, and I got sidetracked by this thing called Occultists Anonymous. I started listening to season 2 when it started, and then got a new job, so I couldn't listen at work, and then... But yeah, we are fans of Critical Role in various functions, aspects. That's the term I'm looking for. Anyways, so yes, that is why it's going to be 3 weeks. So yeah, just to recap. October 8th, nothing. Nada. Week after, Q&A. Week after, we'll be back live. YouTube guys, this is also a chance to get caught up. Of course, if you're watching this, you're already caught up, aren't you? Yeah, so that's kind of...
And then prepare for
Oh,
trouble.
yeah, that's true.
And make it double bubble.
Because we'll be back on the 22nd. Wow. Yeah, okay, so like the week after, maybe at a different time? We don't know. Chris has plans. Chris has Halloween plans.
It's going to be spooky season.
It's going to be real good.
It's going to be gay spooky season.
Gay spooky season.
Very good.
It's going to be real good. It's going to be real sexy. You know how it is on Halloween. Everybody looking sexy.
Did realize that Halloween is on a Sunday, and I don't work Sundays.
You can go all out. Nice.
Yes. I don't work Mondays, so...
And just completely just out there... Is that a Halloween costume that you posted in the other Discord?
It was... Marley was like, we're gonna do a cosplay. I'm like, yeah, and then it's Halloween. She goes, oh, yeah, I guess it is, isn't it? So, yes.
The two of you just, like, flat out not able to recognize that holidays are things that exist on the calendar is my favorite.
I know what Halloween is.
That's the only one.
That's fair. You talk about it in June.
But yes, that costume, must see it. Super excited. Anyways, it may show up on Discord. Yes. Anyways, yes, www.yeetinto.space. Come join us, hang out, even if you don't have Q&A questions. Or, hey, if you're watching this, a couple weeks after it airs and you're too late for the Q&A, it's fine. We still want to hang out with you anyways.
We'll probably answer your questions anyways.
You'll never be too late for the Q&A in your heart.
Aww.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
So sweet.
And if you want to support us monetarily, that's patreon.com/occultistanonymous. Join the ever-growing list of people who keep giving me weird names and puns and references, and I appreciate it. And then, yeah, there is merch. We have new merch, and it is pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm tapped out. I think that's everything, right?
Then you vamped for an extra 5 minutes, so we're over a little bit. So.
Oh, who cares? It's our own channel. So thank you all, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
See you soon.